Xabi Alonso Real Madrid is no longer just a tactical discussion, it is a battle against time, pressure, and the unforgiving standards of the Santiago Bernabéu. Xabi Alonso at a critical crossroads at Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso Real Madrid is becoming one of the most discussed topics among Madridistas, as pressure continues to mount despite a narrow La Liga victory. Real Madrid's hard-fought 2-1 win over Alaves, while important on paper, has not been enough to fully silence the growing doubts surrounding Xabi Alonso's position at the club. The result should have served as a morale boost for Xabi Alonso during a difficult period, yet the broader context tells a more concerning story. Real Madrid have managed only 2 wins in their last 8 matches across all competitions, 1 in La Liga and 1 in the UEFA Champions League. Such a run has stretched the patience of both the club's hierarchy and the fanbase, placing Xabi Alonso under intense scrutiny. The match at Mendizorroza did, however, offer several encouraging signs. Kylian Mbappé returned to the scoresheet, netting his 26th goal in just 22 appearances, underlining his importance to Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid project. The decisive attacking combination between Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo also marked a welcome return to form after a subdued spell, providing a glimpse of the fluid attacking football Alonso aims to establish. Another standout moment came with the impressive debut of 19-year-old left-back Victor Valdepeñas, whose composure and maturity exceeded expectations on one of football's biggest stages. His performance highlighted Xabi Alonso's willingness to trust young talent, a trait that could shape the future identity of Real Madrid. All of this unfolded against the backdrop of a severe injury and suspension crisis, with as many as 9 first-team players unavailable. While this context offers some justification for recent struggles, the reality remains clear. At Real Madrid, results define credibility. As the spotlight intensifies, Xabi Alonso Real Madrid stands at a delicate turning point. The coming fixtures may ultimately determine whether this period is remembered as a temporary storm, or the beginning of a deeper reckoning at the Santiago Bernabéu. However, at Real Madrid, winning alone is rarely enough. Despite the positive individual performances, these signs have failed to fully calm the wave of skepticism sweeping through the Santiago Bernabéu, where pressure on Xabi Alonso Real Madrid continues to intensify with every match. Ahead of the demanding trip to the Basque Country, Spanish media had already framed the narrative with unforgiving clarity. A single victory would not be sufficient to secure Xabi Alonso's position. As a result, the reaction following Real Madrid's win was notably muted. Rather than celebration, the prevailing sentiment was one of indifference, almost a sense that there was nothing worth discussing. Much of the criticism centered on the second-half performance, where Real Madrid's play lacked cohesion, control, and attacking fluency. The inability to dominate proceedings after the break reinforced existing doubts about the tactical direction under Xabi Alonso. For a club defined by authority and dominance, especially in difficult away fixtures, merely surviving has never aligned with expectations. In this environment, Xabi Alonso Real Madrid is judged not just by results, but by style, authority, and the sense of a clear footballing identity. And until those elements are consistently visible, every victory risks being treated as a temporary pause, rather than a definitive answer, to the questions surrounding his future. To be fair, most Spanish sports media have acknowledged several encouraging developments within Xabi Alonso Real Madrid. One of the most notable has been the renewed connection between the under-pressure head coach and Vinicius Jr., a player who was previously portrayed as difficult to manage. This improved relationship has translated into greater tactical discipline and clearer roles on the pitch. Equally significant is the partial revival of Rodrigo, who has now found the net in 2 consecutive matches. Under Xabi Alonso Real Madrid, Rodrigo's positioning and decision-making appear sharper, offering glimpses of the player many believe can still reach elite consistency. These elements suggest that Alonso's influence has not been lost on the dressing room. Yet, despite these positives, dissatisfaction with Real Madrid's overall style of play remains prominent in the headlines. The criticism has not faded. On the contrary, concerns about a lack of control, intensity, and attacking clarity continue to dominate the narrative surrounding Xabi Alonso Real Madrid. The conditions required for Xabi Alonso to retain his position, while never publicly stated by President Florentino Perez, are widely understood. A single slip against third division Talavera in the Copa del Rey, a disappointing home result against Sevilla, or a poor performance against Real Betis after the winter break could be decisive. Any of these scenarios would likely mean that Xabi Alonso would not lead Real Madrid into the Spanish Super Cup in Saudi Arabia, scheduled from January 7 to January 11. It is precisely at that tournament where the line between redemption and collapse becomes razor thin. Should Xabi Alonso, a coach with an illustrious playing career and the architect of Bayer Leverkusen's historic first Bundesliga title, guide Real Madrid past Atletico Madrid in the semi-finals and then defeat either Barcelona or Athletic Bilbao in the final, he would almost certainly earn the stability needed to see out the season. However, failure to return with silverware would leave little room for interpretation. In a club where trophies define legitimacy, coming back empty-handed would almost certainly bring the Xabi Alonso Real Madrid chapter to an abrupt end. Do you believe Xabi Alonso deserves more time at Real Madrid, or should the club demand immediate results? Share your thoughts in the comments, join the debate with fellow Madridistas, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow HalaDNA for in-depth Real Madrid analysis, tactical breakdowns, and El Clasico discussions.